Amazing. We're live. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this evening's episode of the Fertility Women. I am so excited to be doing it on an evening show. Girls, how exciting is this? It feels like a whole new relaunch.
It is exciting. Normally I'm drinking peppermint tea and I'm going to throw it out there and say, I've got a little bit of
Yes, I love that. I love that. Be drinking the wine tonight. I mean, there's definitely been some of our shows where I felt like having a wine during and after, because it's just been emotional and like fun too at the same time. So no, I'm so excited, and we're joined by the lovely Katie again this week, which is so nice. How are you feeling about it being an evening show?
I thought it's really good, actually. I could have actually grabbed a vodka myself, actually, but I've got my water for the minute. But I definitely could have a vodka. I've been down the beach all day today, so I'm quite tired now. But
you look really glowy for the beach. I've been to the beach. I just look a bit burnt, actually.
Quite burnt today because it was quite overcast. I didn't realise. Obviously, having red hair, I get burnt quite quickly. So definitely joined Nicola in drinking. But no, it's great in the evening. A lot better. Yeah, it's really good.
Go and get yourself a vodka. I feel like this needs to be an opportunity for anyone that's joining, anyone that's watching. If you don't have a drink in your hand, go and get one, because
I'll text Chris
tonight. Yeah, go and get one. Katie, go and get yourself a vodka if that's what you want to do. Go and grab yourself one.
That is fine.
It's nice to catch up. I feel like it's a whole different vibe as well, with it being like an evening as well, like it's nice. People are normally like chilled out, wind down from work, have had their dinner, unless you're like me and was running late because totally underestimated how long it took to make the paellas this evening. So I'm sorry, we are a couple of minutes late on. This evening we are going to be joined by lovely Monica. She's actually in New York, and New York is one of my favorite places in the whole world. I'm actually feeling the pinch at the minute because we've not been able to go away for so long. And Monica has had an incredible fertility journey herself, which she's going to tell us all about tonight. And then she sort of took her pain, like most of us are trying to do, like good for the trying to conceive community. And she's launched this incredible IVF journal, which I've got. I love. I used it as like a base for my last round of IVF, and it's 100% what I'll be using for my next round. What I'll do at the end of the show is I'll actually put a link in so you can go on and follow Monica on her social media platforms, and you can also go on and purchase the journal for anybody that's interested. I absolutely love it. I'll go and grab mine in a minute. I actually keep it in my bedside table, so it's just there because it's got like real nice journaling pages in it, which is lovely. Sometimes when you just need to get that crap out of your head and onto paper.
Yeah, no, definitely.
So yes, what I will do is, without further ado, I'm going to just invite Monica on, because I feel like it's going to be one of these long chats and I want to just bring her in. So let me just try and do it without kicking her out.
Hi ladies, how are you? Thank you so much for having me. This is amazing. I love all of you, and this means so much to me.
Bless you. Monica, for anyone that's watching, can you just give us a little bit of an insight into because in a way, infertility has transformed your life, hasn't it?
Oh my gosh, incredibly. I never even thought that it will turn my life the way it did, because when I was single, I didn't want to get married and I didn't want to have children. And not because I didn't want to, because I didn't like it. It's because the world was upside down, and look how it is now. It's even worse.
I hear you. So when did you meet because you're married now?
Yes.
Like, is it Prince Charming? What did he do to change your mind?
It's funny because, I am 48, so I marry at a late age. For some people is a late age, for some it's not. I was 30 years old. We met in Match.com. I was in Colombia, which is the place I born in South America, and he was here in the States in New York, but he's Israeli, so he was here since 1997. I am his third wife. It seems that I'm the charm because we are still married and we are 18 years together. So we met much. I was actually in a profile of LatinMatch.com, but I always speak English since I was 4 years old. My dad put us in a school that everything was in English. He always thought, if I cannot speak English, I want to give my kids what I can't have. So that was how I knew English. And he found me. He loved Latino woman. And he found me. And we started to talk the same day we met. And that's it. That day we disconnect from the internet. It was when it was working with the phone lines. Remember that it was not like now Wi-Fi, it was through the phone. And then he called me from New York and we started to talk. That first time we talked about 9 hours. Wow. And 5 months later, I was married with him and I was here in the States. And, he has a daughter from his second marriage. And Daniela was 1 year and 4 months. And, when she used to come, it was, I felt like they were like, I felt she was mine. But then when she had to go away back to her mother, it was like so hurtful. So I said, okay, let's try to, have children. I want to have my own. And I thought it's going to be easy because I come from a family from my mom's side. They were 18 kids, 9 girls, 9 boys, all from the same dad and mom. We are 243 cousins.
Wow.
Yes. My grandpa died when he was 102 years old.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So everybody got pregnant with the blow of a kiss. So I was like, I'm going to get pregnant with the blow of a kiss too. It didn't happen. So we were trying for about 6 months.
Kiss. I love that though.
Yeah. So we were trying for about 6 months and nothing happened. So I start to think that something is wrong with me because he has a daughter. And I am not getting pregnant as easy as I thought. And the rest of my family was, not me. So we went to the doctor. The doctor put me on Clomid. You know how is kind of the process. He told me to try another 6 months. Nothing happened. We went to do all the hormonal tests, blood. Everything came up okay. And then the doctor says, I want to order hysterosalpingogram to check your tubes and your uterus. And that's, I always suffer with my periods. There were a lot of painful, like crazy painful. I even fainted from the pain. But my mom also had that. So, nobody is kind of, you think it's normal. And it's absolutely not normal. Yeah. So, and I used to get inflammation and pain that I couldn't even walk. But I thought it was normal because my mom had it and most of my aunts had it. And, you think it is. So when they did that, they found that my both fallopian tubes were blocked from scar tissue. And I got diagnosed with endometriosis stage 4. Right. And we tried to, to do 2 laparoscopies, but nothing happened. So my only choice was IVF. And I didn't even know what was that. I felt when the doctor started to explain me, I just felt so scared, devastated. I felt that I born defective. I was upset with God, like why this is happening to me. Cried like a river. And my husband is he's very rational. So he was like, why you cry? Anyway, we have a chance, we have a choice, we can use your eggs, my sperm and all of, like from all what he understood.
That's exactly what my other half's like. He's exactly the same. Why are us women so irrational, huh?
But I think that's the balance in between us, the male strength, because even in same-sex couple, there is always the one that is more emotional, more soft, and then there is one that has the testosterone and, is the tough one. So
there's also the one that's got to do all of the stuff.
Yes.
And the one that watches you doing all the stuff.
Yeah. Yes. He's not holding back.
And I think as well, obviously, sometimes not always, it's not always the case with a woman, but obviously as with yourself, you're the one obviously that had the difficulty. Your husband already had a child, so obviously you probably felt different anyway, because they'd said ultimately the difficulties was with you, not with him. So he was going to be, I think, more positive than you, because he ultimately didn't have the difficulties you did. So it's a hard one, isn't it, to see how.
Absolutely. But he was the one that kind of pulled me out of that cry and make me see the brighter, picture. However, we went to the doctor, an amazing RE that I have. His last name was Brandeis. We call him Dr. Crazy. I hope that one day he's going to see this, because we even told him. Why? Because he was so into helping couples through IVF, and he had a very small team. So he was like, you have to wait like 4 hours for his appointment. And I was almost close to give up on that. My husband was like, no, I have a good feeling about him. And that was it. He was amazing. And the same way that you will wait 3 hours in his appointment, he will spend 4 hours with each couple explaining everything. So that kind of balance. And we did our first IVF, and it's now my 15-year-old daughter, Elia. So we were lucky. But nobody told us, not even him, because like I tell you, this doctor was always like just so focused on patients that he forgot to tell us that we could freeze our embryos. Then nobody told us. So we didn't know, and we had a retrieval of 29 of my eggs, 14 eggs fertilized, we transferred 4, but the other 10 nobody, nothing.
4 in one go?
Only one go. Yeah, in that time, that was 15 years ago, we transferred 4, 1 attached. It was my daughter.
Wow.
Yes.
4. Imagine if all 4 had attached, Mohan. I don't think you'd be here now.
What if they
You'd be
split?
tired.
You know, I was actually praying for having twins so I don't go through that again. I was like, please, God, I want twins or maybe triplets. You never know.
God.
Give me one. So I went with an easy pregnancy, morning sickness, normal, but it was easy. But still, I was very close about my journey. I didn't want to share it with no one. Like I told you, I feel ashamed. I was scared to tell people. So I told my husband, if something, we're going to say that I got pregnant naturally. And he was like, why? Why we need? I'm like, because yes, that's it. And he's like, that's not an answer. And I'm like, yes, because yes is an answer and is my answer. And that's it. So Elia born. And then when she was around 4.5, we decide that we want to bring a sibling for her. So we're going to go through another IVF. And this is when we enter again with the same doctor. And I found out through Google and all of that about the frozen embryos. So I told him, listen, I want this cycle that if I have embryos, remaining, please to froze them. So we went through the second cycle, and this is when the mess started. This is when really all the pain and frustration and anxiety started. They did a mistake in the clinic. One of the nurses, she switched the charts for whatever reason. We are humans. I will never judge, because sometimes we have some things in our head and we don't know, Nobody, I don't believe that we do things with a bad intention, so they switched the charts, and when they called me, they gave me the dose of another patient. So I got OHSS, and they had to cancel the cycle. So my husband, of course, was pissed. His Israeli temper went to the roof. He called the doctor screaming, how is that possible? And he was very kind. And he said, we need to wait that she, the ovaries go down, and we wait another 3 months. I give you a cycle, no charge, and the medicine up to when you use it. We did that. About 4 months later, I entered into my 3rd cycle. And this time we did also 4 embryos. We did PGS testing, because we wanted a boy. That's the honest truth. So we say, okay, we come with a lot of embryos. We're going to froze whatever it comes, and we maybe transfer 3 or 4 boys. This time I only got about 19 eggs and only 6 fertilized. So I didn't have remain for frozen. And then 3 of these embryos were boys, very good quality embryos, and 3 were girls. But from the 3 girls, 2 of them were with issues with the chromosomes. So the doctor recommended to discharge. And one of the girls was about 5 days behind, right? But I said, okay, so let's transfer the 3 boys, and we froze the baby girl or the baby girl. And my husband says, no, we transfer all the 4 because we need to have all the choices possible. And I got pregnant from the baby girl. And everything, she kicked the butt of the boys.
Can I just ask a question? Can I butt in? Is that okay?
Absolutely.
Because we haven't had anyone on where we've spoken about like genetic testing in a sense of like sex of the babies.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm finding an emotional attachment when you're talking about the baby girls and the baby boys. And I already have a huge emotional I think with the embryos, like I find that a huge maternal thing. Like sometimes when I sit and think about the fact that we've got 7 babies in the freezer, I'm like, oh my God, I need to go and defrost them because they just need to be with me. Does anyone else, am I going nuts? Like, and anyone watching, please interrupt if I sound like a head case. But like where you're saying, like my baby girls and the baby boys, it's just making me feel really emotional. Is it just me?
I think I would really struggle. Don't get me wrong, I've got frozen embryos, and when my embryos have gone back in my head, they're my babies. Obviously, they are. To be.
Obviously, in this country.
I think if I knew it was a boy or a girl, having a failed round and knowing it was a boy or a girl, I don't know. I do agree with you, Jade. I think I would feel even more emotionally connected.
Yeah.
Just listening to you talk about them, I'm like, oh, my baby boys and my baby girls. And I'm like, oh, like I feel like I need to grieve for those embryos for you now. But I might just be being a bit dramatic.
No, you are not, and none of you are, because that's us. It's the connection. We women were created by the higher power, whatever you want to call it, God, Hashem, whatever in your religion is, with that gift. It's a gift. We have that connection from the moment we born. If you know, when we are embryos, when we ladies are embryos in our mommy's belly, and we are already a woman in that belly, like in about, I will say, in the 12th week, we already have our eggs, and they are 4 months old, and they are 4 months ahead of us. Yeah. We have them. It's already set. So the connection is from the womb. So I will always say that. So the baby girl. Yes.
You're giving me a whole different. I didn't know any of that.
I didn't know that too, but it's true. It is when a baby girl is forming the uterus, and let's see, we don't know the sex, right? The mommy don't know the sex, but inside is forming a baby girl. The eggs are already set in the quantity she's gonna come with, and they are 4 months older. That's why. Oh my God. That's why the science and doctors tell us when we are over 30, oh, your clock is ticking, because they're already older than us, 4 months. So imagine when we born and we are 1 year, you need to come 1 year and 4 months. It's almost almost a semester older than us. So that's what happened. That's why we say my baby. So baby. And
cool is that? I agree with William, who's just commented. This will cool. I love it.
Yes.
I'm sorry. I totally sidelined you there, didn't I? But I love that. Oh my God, thank you.
So
I learned
was
something every
she shocked in the end when you had all 4 embryos back in, and the girl was the one?
The girl kicked the butt of that. And another thing that is interesting is well known, and I don't know if it is proved by search, but it's well known that girls, females, we are stronger in certain ways, including from the womb. That's why there is more women in the world than men. You see it. And because from genetic, I guess something happened there. So my baby girl developed. Everything was perfectly beautiful.
Put the boys out. She was like, "Out you go, boys."
She was like, I don't want you. I want mommy only for me.
Yeah.
So everything was okay. I was 37 years old. And then, of course, because of the age, they needed to do the amniocentesis to make sure that there is no trisomy 16 and all of these with the spinal cord. So I did it at exactly 22 weeks. And she was moving a lot. And I didn't know that I had a blood clot issue. It came up out of the blue. And at 39 weeks, I had to deliver Isabel, a stillbirth. A blood clot in the umbilical cord, just, And lately, I'm sorry if I cry, but lately I am a little sensitive. I was not sensitive. But now I am a little, I don't know why.
I'm so sorry. I wasn't expecting that. I'm so sorry. Oh, hon. I can't, oh, my gosh. I can't even imagine. Sorry, I've gone really cold. I feel like I'm going to cry.
That's okay. Let me drink a little bit of water.
Yeah.
You take your water, babe. I can't imagine. I remember a lot when I would connect with people, because we obviously created that like Facebook support group for anyone that was struggling with infertility, because I didn't know anybody at the time. And I remember a lot of Not a lot. I remember speaking to a few women that had gone through like stillborn and stuff like that. And I remember saying, please, like, I can deal with the infertility. I couldn't deal with that because like I don't, should we talk about it or should we not, Mum? What do you want to do?
No, absolutely. I'm okay now.
Are you sure? Because
100%. It's just that, I think that we as women, we are very emotional. So we have that, waves. But they say something. Good things come in waves. And, one of the down waves was her. And what happened is that, I went to do my portrait with my husband on a Saturday. It was October 2nd, 2010. And I stopped to feel the baby that day. So I told my husband, listen, I don't feel the baby. We knew that it was a girl. And then he said, listen, don't worry, because it happens with my first daughter. And we went to the hospital and she was sleeping. It happens many times. So he said, maybe she's sleeping, let's wait. So we went to do the portrait. On the following Tuesday, I had the sonogram. And the lady is measuring the head and all of that. And she said, the measurements are perfect. And I told her, I want to see the heartbeat. Because she's not moving for the last 2 days. And she started to look and nothing. And I'm like, where is it? Nothing. So she said, I'm going to call the doctor. When she said that, that's it. I kind of lost it. They have to hold me in the in the bed. My mom was with me. And you always have that little hope. I went to the hospital and I was praying that some kind of miracle happened. But it didn't. So, we are Jewish. So in Judaism, a baby needs to be 30 days to sit Shiva, or in other words, funeral. Because that's in our Torah, that's the time that a soul, a spiritual soul, becomes human. It belongs to us, to me and my husband, to the earth. If it's before 30 days, doesn't belong to us, belong to God. So I don't know where she's buried, but I'm grateful about it, because otherwise I will be still up to today, every week or you don't know how there. So our rabbi took care of everything, and it was hard. I'm not going to lie to you, because look, there is a name for everything. I always say that. My mom taught me that. When we lose our parents, we call orphans, right? When we lose a husband or wife, it's called widow or widower. But when a mom loses a child, there is no name for that. And no matter how far we are, could be a miscarriage of 7 weeks, it could be at 8 weeks. The thing is that as the time goes by, the pain is stronger. So imagine me, a stillbirth. So imagine a mom that loses a child when he's 18 or 16 or 15. So it's a pain that is indescribable, but also take us to a place where we become selfish. Why? Because we don't want to feel that pain. I'm not going to lie to you, ladies. I thought about taking my life. I didn't care about my husband. I didn't care about my 5-year-old. I didn't care about my sister, my mom, nobody, because I couldn't deal with that. It was, I needed, usually we wake up because the cry of the baby wakes us up. I used to wake up crying because she's not crying there. And it was crazy. And I got upset with God again. I even got to a point that I was doubting if there is a higher power. And I told my rabbi, it's okay that I am upset on God? And he was absolutely, it's okay that you are upset on God. And you can ask him all the questions. But he's not going to tell you why now. He's going to tell you why when he wants. And you will know the why. I don't know when, but you will. So what I did, I wanted to fill up that hole. So I drilled my husband and I said, I want to do another in vitro, like now. And he was like, how are you going to do one in vitro? You are milking. Oh, I had to wrap my breasts to dry the milk. And I had all that hormonal, change. And I could, sometimes if I will see a show and maybe laugh, then in the back of my mind, I was like telling to myself, you're such a bitch. Why are you laughing? You just lost a baby. Mm-hmm. It's such a crazy thing. And I drilled my husband, and then we went to this doctor, to the same doctor, and he said to me, I'm so sorry, but I don't think that you are emotionally and physically and mentally prepared to another IVF. I think you need to breathe and then you need to come back. So I told him, give me the name of another doctor because I need my baby. And he gave it to me, and I went to him, and he tried to convince me with my husband not to do it, but I guess that the poor guy felt that I was putting him a gun in the head, and you do it, and he did it.
Yeah. I wouldn't want to argue with you anyway, Monica.
No, I don't want to argue with you.
The Colombian side came out,
Yeah.
And then we did it, but it was right. That my doctor was right, my husband was right, and I miscarried at 7.5 weeks again. So what I did is put another pain in my from there. We, men and women, we grieve differently. So I cry my eyes every day. I was crying. For me, crying is my way of taking out all the crap. Until there is like the last tear that I am forcing, then I feel kind of relief, And then I see that my husband is just, kind of going to work. And I'm like, what the hell, I was expecting him to grieve the same way. And I wasn't considerate. And he was just running away from that pain, like I did in my way. So our marriage came to a point that we were with lawyers, each of us. We were like to the edge of getting divorced. And then our rabbi kind of intervened. And he asked us a question. He said, do you guys love each other? Do you think that love is something that still is there? And I am crazy about him. He's crazy about me. And we say, yes. So he said, you guys should just, I'm not telling you to leave the pain, but this is belong to God, and try to work in yourselves, in your relationship. You have a child. And he told me right away, you are selfish. You need to be a mom. I don't think that your daughter will like to see the way you are with her sister. And it clicked on me, and I'm like, I have to force myself to move on.
That's a bit of tough love, though, I think, isn't it? You'd been through like massive trauma.
Oh yeah, you have no idea. And it was
that obviously worked for you. Are you a person that prefers tough love? Are you that type of person, or do you prefer a more sensitive approach?
I will say that in everything we need to have like a middle point. Sometimes too much tough love, the person that is receiving it take it not as love but as a hurt. And sometimes when it's too sensitive, and I tell you a clear example, when I was mourning our daughter, so we had to tell our rabbi to stop to send us food, because one thing I tell you, Jewish community is insanely close. Everyday people from a.m. to 9 p.m. and they will come and they will of course tell me I'm sorry, but they will do their best to take me out of that pain. So they will tell me stories, they will make me laugh, they will do something. So there was one of my friends that she came and she became so sensitive, but so sensitive that suddenly I am looking and I told my husband, I think she's dragging me too much to the pain. I can't. And he had to go and tell her to be with him because it was too much. It was dragging me. And you feel it, our mental thoughts and physics talk to us. Our body is insane, our mind. So I think the way that the rabbi told me, it was tough, but balanced. And it clicked. So
I think there's an element of, I'm sorry, I'm finding this. I don't know. It really got me. Like, your whole story is just so touching. But I think he's right in the sense that your daughter wouldn't want you not to be there for your other daughter, would she? And sometimes I know and agree again with Nick what you said about it being like tough love, but I feel like it's perspective as well. Because you weren't in the headspace to even be thinking like that. You needed someone to take you and remind you. And that, I guess, if that pulled you through, I guess he kind of gave you a lifeline, really, didn't he?
Totally.
And even your daughter, and how old was your daughter at that time? So your daughter.
Oh, that was another one. I forgot even to mention that she was 5. So the first thing that we told.
No, you did say 5. You did say 5 earlier. You said I couldn't speak to my husband. I couldn't look after my 5-year-old daughter. You did say
sorry.
No, that's right. No, because then she just apologised. No, it's all right. You did, and
no,
that's why when you were talking about it, then I was just crying because I just can't imagine even the not knowing where your baby was buried. I can't.
Yeah. But
I'm not questioning you and your faith or anything like that. I've never heard anything like that, and it just shocked me. That's all.
Listen, it's absolutely understandable, and for me it was hard. For me, it was hard that I couldn't know. That was one of the things I cried the most.
You're not allowed to know where she. Am I all right to ask? I'm sorry, yes. I don't want to offend anyone watching. It's just, this is so educational for me because I don't know anything about this.
Yes, Judaism has, the Orthodox side of it and the conservative. So I have a friend that she had her first daughter was a stillbirth too, and she's Jewish, but she was more reformed. So they did a Shiva, they did all of that. But if we go to really like the religious point of view and go to the Torah and interpret all what the rabbi said, it makes sense. For me, it didn't make sense, as you are saying now, in that moment. But my husband, and it's funny, my husband is Israeli, but he's very secular. He's not religious at all. But when it comes to certain things in the Torah, he was the one that told me, I can't go against God. And I remember I told him, but you don't even believe in God. You eat pig and all of that, and you don't even... He said, don't even ask me that. I can't go with that. I can eat pig. I know that I break many rules, but this one is, my voice tells me we don't need to know, and we need to respect that. So
because he's going to look after your baby for you.
Yes. So when we came out of the hospital in the way back, I was telling him how we're going to do to tell Elia. So, we are lost. So the first thing he does to call the rabbi, what are we going to do? So the rabbi came with us. He met us in the house, and he sit with her and shy. Like Jade, like you say, I wasn't able to say a word. I just went upstairs to the room, and they went with her. And they told her the truth. They told her, Mommy, the baby died in Mommy's womb. There was a problem, and the baby couldn't get more oxygen through them. And she was just looking at them. My husband says that he tried to say a word and he couldn't, but the rabbi did everything, and she understood. You guys have no idea. This girl, she is a 15-year-old, but her mind is like of a wise 70-year-old woman that knows everything. She's so calm. She's very gifted. And I am so grateful for that, because when I lose things in my house, when I go crazy, she's like, chill, Mom. Everything has a solution. I'm like, oh, thank God I have you,
Wow.
But she understood, and through the years, she didn't even ask me. She don't even talk about that too much. Now that she's big, and we almost got divorced, and then we came back with the rabbi's help, and we said, you know what, that's it. We need to grieve, we need to cry, and we need to work on our relationship. We have a daughter. We have to somehow. We work about a year in our relationship, and he came and he said, you know what, after a year, we're going to do an in vitro, a last cycle. And whatever happens. Yes, no, we stay with Daniela, my stepdaughter, and Elia. We did it, and that's when I start to say to myself, I cannot control the outcome of this, because nobody can control the outcome of trying to conceive, not naturally, not with the help of science. This is something that is out of our control. But the only thing I can control is the way I act upon it. So I'm going to do my best to put my part into making a little bit possible, increasing the possibilities of a pregnancy.
Yeah.
So we did, and I got pregnant. Maya was a twin. We changed doctors. We looked for a doctor close to our house because we live in the suburbs, 40 miles from the city. So we want, how it is with a test in the morning, 6 in the morning. And I used to go to the city, wake up at 3 in the morning. It was a nightmare. So we found a great doctor close to us. We went there, and they came, I think it came about 19 eggs, 8 embryos fertilized. And we say, let's transfer 4, the same. But our doctor says that all the embryos are good, and he's scared because I was almost 41 when this happened, my 5th cycle, that maybe I'm going to have a multiple pregnancy. So he suggested to transfer 3. We did 3, and Maya was a twin. The beta test came positive, but I started to bleed after the beta test. And you know how it is. I became crazy. I called the doctor. It was a Sunday. On Monday, I went, and she did the ultrasound, the intravaginal ultrasound, and then I see a little thing, and I'm like, so why I'm bleeding? I asked the nurse, and she's like, oh, because it's a twin. You see the other sac here? This sac is kind of falling. And I'm like, I just said, okay, but there is one heartbeat, and that fills me. And then she said, yes, but listen, don't have too much hope, because maybe that sac is going to take her out. And I'm like, how insensitive you are. My husband told her, like, what the heck is wrong with you? I don't want to see you again. Get the hell out. He called the doctor right there.
I'm really frightened of your husband. I won't lie. Like, I kind of want to interview him as well.
I was frightened of Monica.
I was speechless. I was like, I don't know what to do if punching, sometimes there is things in life that piss you off in such a way that you don't even know how to react. You are like statue, what I do. I thank God I didn't do nothing, because probably I would jump and punch her in the face, and that's it, and then lawsuits and all of that, like here in the United States.
Monica. I love how open you are. I love it.
Yeah.
And believe it or not, I learned that openness a lot with my husband. Israelis are crazy. So I said to him, you're a very bad influence for me. I love it. So he talked to the doctor, and the doctor said that from now on, until he remit me to the gynecologist, he's going to be seeing me. And I start to, read more, do more meditation, do when it was advanced, my pregnancy, prenatal yoga. But one thing that I couldn't control was the fact that I learned every hour, minute, and sequence of the movements of the baby when she started to move. So I learned it to a point that this baby used to move at 2:30 in the morning while I was sleeping. So I will sleep with my hands there. And if she will not move, I will wake up my husband like a crazy woman, tell him to bring me chocolate or sweet or orange juice. And he was like, leave the poor baby sleeping. What is this? That baby didn't sleep. I didn't let her.
Not now, she's not.
Now she comes and, she heard the story one time. She overheard it because, how kids are now, they are so bright. And when I tell her, why you wake up so early even in the weekends, Maya? Because she's at 6 o'clock every weekend. And she say, that's payback because you didn't let me sleep in the bed. Okay. She say, that's payback. You didn't let me sleep in the belly, so I'm now not going to let you sleep a minute.
I love it. So, Mon, how, obviously you got your happy ending, didn't you, that you wanted after all of your pain. What advice would you give to someone who's on a similar journey to you right now?
I tell you what, the advice is the following. We choose our parents. That's for sure. So there is something that calls spirit babies. And I really 100% in that. When a woman suffers from recurring miscarriages or there is a stillbirth, a loss, I've learned that it's the same baby trying to tell you, I want you as my mom. I want you as my mom. But for whatever circumstances, it's not the right time. So when Maya born, my husband was the one that first saw her and received her and all of that, because of course I was a high risk pregnancy. I was on blood thinners too. So she born about 36 and a half weeks. And in that time, they have something in the lungs that they might need to go to the NICU in case, but she didn't. So when he put it on my chest, I felt strongly that it was the same soul of Isabel, but different vehicle. And I see signals. She comes with comments that I'm like, she comes with things like, I came to claim my love back. And I'm like, okay. So my advice is painful, but there is something there. You can call your spirit baby. We can't call it. We can ask God, higher power, whatever. We can ask for that, and it's gonna come to us. And the more we pursue with love, with understanding, without putting ourselves in such a pain, without putting ourselves as that I don't work, my body is broken. We need to realize something. Infertility is an illness, period. There's nothing wrong with us. It's just that something happened, like when someone gets diagnosed with something, it's the same. So nothing is wrong with us. Our bodies are perfect. And when an infertility issue comes to us, it's because our body is telling us that we need to do something. Maybe it's too late, like in my case, but how I can help doing what I'm doing now. So there is a spirit baby. Believe and be sure that if you are asking, if you are eager to be a mother or a parent, it's because that inner voice of yours wanted and is telling you that it's possible. So I always say, don't give up. You know, I have friends that they were my clients and they became friends that have gone through 17 cycles and they were so close to give up, and they say, okay, I'm going to do the last one, and they have their baby. And the women that suffer recurring miscarriages and they have their babies. So always, you know, trusting that inner voice and make sure that whatever the clinic you're going or the doctor that you are going to go is people that is kind, that they really know how to deal with this, and that you have all the right to ask from the most difficult question to the most silly question. And if they are not answering to you, then that is not the right place to you, period. And check the rates, not in positive tests, but in live-born pregnancies. So you can have a clinic that has millions of positive tests, but how many babies they born from it? Yeah. So all of these together, and find emotional support. Emotional support could be someone from your family, your husband, fertility coach, any one of us in the community. You can see Instagram today is so amazing. People send me a DM, I answer because I've been there. You know, like I've been there. I went through everything, to infertility, miscarriage, still there, almost divorced, because this can bring a lot of strains in our relationship with our other half, with our partner. So
yeah, your journey is just wow. I don't know. I feel like I've cried so much tonight. I'm so sorry, girls. I really do apologize. You don't need to be
sorry. Crying is good.
Yeah,
I started going there, and I was like trying to like rein myself back in. I think it was, I don't know, when you said that there's like that baby out there that wants you to be their mom. Like I'm still not there yet. I've not got a baby, but yeah, that was like really touched me somewhere. I don't know. That was quite emotional.
Yeah, no, I love that.
I feel like, Mon, you're amazing. Like, I feel like she's moved all of us. Like, I've seen everyone's been really, like, we've all felt pretty vulnerable tonight. Like, you've just taken us on this amazing journey. I'm aware that we've had you for like 45 minutes. I'm sorry, but I would love to just talk to you about, because it's not like you've not been through enough pain and you just thought, right, okay, I've got my baby now, I've got my little family, I'm just going to go off into the sunset. You've then taken all of that pain and you've channeled it back into supporting us, others on their journey. Mm-hmm. Where did that come from? Where did the IVF journal come from?
That was when Maya born, and I was kind of in that mood of balance. And after going through all the pain, I went back onto my first IVF and I said to myself, there was no support like it is now. So I went to Facebook and I said, let me open a group and ask people, you know, or look for fertility. And I built the group. And in the matter of 2 weeks, I have 1,200 members. And I said, this is my call. You see, I studied finance and administration. And then I did like a master's degree in hotel and tourism. And I came to the States and I worked kind of on my area. But you always, you know, life takes you to places that you never imagined. And when I started this, I felt that I needed to help others because, you know, I felt alone, I felt bad, I felt defective. And how many women there are still, and couples, and now men, you know, now with so much expansion of all the parenthood options that we can have. Imagine, for example, the journey for same-sex parents. It could be even women and men. it's incredibly painful because, for example, women, they need to go and look for their donor. It's extending the journey. So I said to myself, no, I need to do this. And I love it. I love this for some reason. They say, this is the worst club with the best members. It's so freaking true.
Yes.
So, oh my God.
Oh, I wish I knew you and I was trying. I wish I knew all of you.
All of this when I was starting 15 years ago. There was not even Facebook exist because it was 2002. No Facebook, no nothing. And everything is kind of a taboo. And you know what? Another thing that I advise couples that they are trying to conceive, and this goes more to heterosexual couples, because with same sex, you have the surrogacy or the egg donor or adoption. They need to go through different ways. But same sex couples, I always tell them, make sure that sex and intercourse doesn't become a burden, a homework, because that can also restrain. And believe it or not, when you make love to your partner or you guys are having sex, the fact that you are finding the love and passion in the act, it's helping you to open more your body and increase the possibility of getting pregnant. I don't know if you girls watch this movie, What to Expect When You Are Expecting. It's with Jennifer Lopez and other actresses.
Yes, I love that.
You remember that part of the lady that is signing the book and the guy wants to go with the friends and the beep start and she's like, ovulating time, honey. And he's like, I go to my friends. I'm like, no, in the back of the store. No.
Yeah.
It's so true. So make sure that, you still keep that spark, because that spark also spark the baby. That's how babies come, from love, and having fun and passion and play, dress funny, dress sexy, jump in your husband, be sometimes the initiator. I don't know. I always say,
I'm too tired for all that. Honestly, IVF's the easier option.
Really? Oh my God.
I was honestly relieved in the end, though. I was relieved for the IVF because of that, timing, what time you have to do all of that malarkey. Honestly, in the end, I was like, well, at least by the series of events that we have to do naturally, like the making love, the having sex, whatever you like to call it, that was not working. So I was like, there's got to be better success rates at this IVF clinic, So I was relieved for it in the end. I don't know about any of you girls, but I really was.
It is. It is relief because, yes, with the IVF, actually, you know that they're going to retrieve your eggs, they're going to put them and all of that. And then sex become a little funny.
They're going to get together. Do you know what I mean? Like the embryo, the egg and the sperm are going to get together and make an embryo. But, when you're doing it month in, month out, it can just be a bit of a nightmare. But that is where Fertility Mindset Coach is coming to it. And that's what you do now, isn't it, Mon? Tell us about that really quickly. I'm not going to keep you much longer.
No, don't worry. It's okay. So yes, I do that. And I start to coach from my own, my own journey. So I say my pain became my purpose. And the IVF planner came because you know how it is with IVF, the test results, the hormone levels. And I used to put everything in papers. If you see I have a mess in my desk, it's always been like that. So I realized that that's my order and I understand it. So papers and little papers. So I lost the freaking papers. And then I was like, what is the number? Or when you get your positive test and your levels triplicate every 2-3 days, I didn't find them. And I said, I need something. And I start to build it. It took me 3 years to do it when I started before.
Wow.
Yes. And then I did it and I feel so proud. And I am working on a second version for same-sex couples.
I'm going to get the first one right there.
Yes. So I'm working in that second version for adding to the one already have, charts and notes for same-sex couples, because I never thought about it. And someone in the community came and said, I have an idea. And I'm like, oh my God, that's awesome. Let's do it.
See, I wish I had something like that as well when I was trying. All these things that I think would have made life a lot easier, because I have stuff written down on notes and scrap piece of paper that I've still kept in my folder. Just a scrap piece of paper.
No.
Embryos.
I'm gonna send you both a copy of my book. You are all of you in the UK, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
That'd be amazing.
That looks great.
So yes, I'm gonna send you a copy of it. So when we finish, I think I can DM me in Instagram your address and I send it to you. And
I love the smell of the book. It's so weird,
And I finished my coloring book. I'm just trying to negotiate with 2 publishers. It calls Ranting Doodles, because you know that infertility is about ranting and being upset.
Yeah.
And it's all coloring pages with eggs and sperms, little cartoons.
Oh, I love colouring.
Oh my God, that's so
brilliant. I love adult colouring.
Coloring and art therapy is incredibly helpful in our journey, because it helps our mind to kind of get a little bit away from the obsession that we have of having the baby. You know, when we obsess.
It's also really good for if you struggle with meditation, it puts you in a meditative state if you colour.
Right.
Now, you're meant to do it as well with the opposite to that, your hand that you write with. If you can get an adult colouring book and you colour, because
my right left hand. Okay.
I do meditate, but when I'm very, as you all know, and when my mind is all over the place, I struggle. So I can just sit with Layla watching a film with her, and I'll just sit and colour with my other hand, and it's like I'm meditating. It's so good. And that's when you get inspired inspiration and stuff like that. So I cannot wait for that sperm book. I want at least 7 copies to live in my house, because I love it.
It's going to be amazing. And you know what? You mentioned something interesting. When we color, you know what I used to do when I was pregnant from Maya, and I color. So then when I finish to color, I will see what colors I use. So I knew what kind of mood I have. So if it was bright colors, my mood was a little happier. If it was like earth colors or dark colors, I knew that I was a little, but even your mood can get out there. You know, it's like you are releasing that feelings too. Art therapy is something that I suggest so much into my coaching. And, you know, it worked for me. And I need a coach for my life. For my general life, I need a coach. Sometimes, like you, I cannot meditate. If I meditate, I start to fight with the thoughts. Go away. I want, what are you doing here? I don't want to be
quiet.
I can't do that.
Oh, I could talk to you all night. I really could.
Cute.
Girls, have you got any more questions? We've had her for nearly an hour. I'm so sorry, hon.
Listen, like I told you, I love what I do. So for me, when I am into an interview or something, you start with me and I finish when you say when to finish.
I just have one question. Just one question I had. So obviously, Monica, you said you started with a Facebook group. Was that correct? And you had over 1,000 members. And then where did it go from there? So once you had your Facebook group, how did you then get more into the life, sort of like the coaching as such? How did that come about? That's what I'm very interested in.
Yes. So from the members that start to join the group, one of them, Tracy, she started to text a lot to me, and I told her, because I was starting. When we start something, I am a true believer that we need to first give before charging anything, because we want to connect with people, and we want people to also be a testimonial of how we are helping them. So with Tracy, she was having a really hard time in getting pregnant. She went to multiple cycles, and even she quit the group for a while, because sometimes you need to just disconnect. You need to also have a break, because it's so much overwhelming. And then she came back. But while she was away from the group, we text a lot. And I told her, listen, I am opening this group, and I'm thinking into doing a coaching. And she told me, that's incredible. You can. And I say, why you are not my tester, my beta tester, and we go over. And I support you emotionally. And she and I, we were texting all the time. And she was very close to give up. And I remember that there was a point that she told me, listen, I'm tired of believing in God on all of that. And she also disconnected a little bit from me. And I told her, listen, you do what is good for you. You feel that you need to disconnect from the world, do so, and you come back when you can. She came, and when she came, she was pregnant. And she came back to the group, and she is a big supporter. And from there, I say, you know what, that's it. This is my call. I start to work into my website, the books. And I do one-on-one coaching. I like more one-on-one, because I like to be myself, being attended by a personal level. Yeah. I can do group coaching, but for me, it's better doing one-on-one, because I would like the same. Like you said, if I would have that 15 years ago, I want the person only for myself, so I can have someone that understands.
Yeah.
And that's how I start.
Sounds amazing. Sounds really amazing. I would love to talk to you one-on-one about anything life related. I
know we're going to come to New York and we're going to come and stay with you for a few days. Okay.
You are more than welcome, and then we can have a little bit of a sunbath in the backyard.
Oh my God, I'm up for that.
Yeah, we moved to a new house, and he was diagnosed in September with Crohn's disease. He had gone through 7 surgeries. So it's like, when it rains, it pours. That's how it is said. Like one problem doesn't come only one, it comes with 10,000. And, we have learned through all what we have been going in this life that we even make about jokes about his condition. 8 surgeries, he lost 32 pounds. Me taking care of him, I lost 12 pounds. I have to disconnect even a little bit for a while from Instagram because we were going through so much. But everything, my mom always says, there is no bad thing that happened without bringing a good thing. Bad things happen for a reason. And always
is a blessing.
Yes. I always ask, okay, God, if I'm going through a bad moment, show me the good of this cheat, because cheat happens, make it Play-Doh. That's it. You need to make it Play-Doh and put colors, because what are you gonna? Or either you get with the caca, or either you make Play-Doh and put color and perfume and make a little dog. I don't know.
I love your analogies. You kill me. Honestly, you do. You are so funny. Monica, I am going to wrap it up now because I feel like we're going to be on it all night. But I love you. I feel like you need to come on again because I could
amazing.
Thank you so much. I follow all of you on Instagram. I think I wasn't following you, Kathy, but now I am following you. Yes.
Okay.
And please, Kathy, and what's your name? Remind me.
Nicola,
send me your address, and I make sure that you get your book by Monday via Amazon. I want to gift it.
That's very kind of you. Thank you so much,
darling. Thank you so much, guys. I hope you've all enjoyed watching this evening. We'll be back next Wednesday at 8 p.m. British summertime, and we are going to be talking to an embryologist. Her name is Paige. She's absolutely incredible. I found her account and it's really funny actually that we were talking about so in depth about embryos and stuff earlier. I found her page when she was writing about looking after. It was a picture of her at the lab, and she was talking about these embryos, and she was talking about them like they were her own babies, and it moved me on another level. And I just messaged her, and I was like, as soon as I messaged her, I knew I needed to talk to her. So I had a bit of a chat with her, and it turns out she's actually going through infertility herself, and she's an embryologist. And she is the most beautiful soul. She's never done anything like this before. So she's going to be coming and joining us on the Fertility Women next week at 8. So please be there. It's one not to be missed. And Monica, you've been amazing. Katie, thank you so much for being here. I love you all, and I look forward to seeing you all next week.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, ladies. Love you.